Hey everyone, my name is Marissa. Welcome to my channel if you've never been here before. Very excited for these sessions that we're going to dive into today. These are all about the current chapter that you find yourself in regards to how it fits into the overall masterpiece of your destiny. Okay, because the people that I call in, my soulmate clients, and the people that are drawn to my channel are beings that are very intentional with why they're here and ask those harder and deeper questions in life and really want to align with what they're here for, right? What their soul had intended for taking birth. And that's part of my purpose, is to help aid and assist other people in becoming more clear in that and more confident in that as well. So very excited to offer these soul blueprint style readings for you. We have 4 groups to choose from today. Take your time. You can also use a random number generator. That's proven pretty accurate most of the time for me as well. And whenever you guys are feeling ready, we're just going to hop right into these sessions.
Hey, group number 1, welcome to your reading all about the deeper purpose of the current chapter that you find yourself in. Now, this is one of my favorite spreads in the Kim Cran's Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. Okay, so I just wanted to give credit where credit is due. And it's always like challenging for me to figure out, like, when I first do a spread, or I haven't done this one in a long time. Like I think the only time I've done this is on my old channel or my primary channel, like maybe a year and a half ago. So like when I first started posting videos, tarot videos on YouTube. So at first I had shuffled on camera, and then I knew it would kind of be like a long shot for me to, I knew it might be overwhelming to have all of the cards flipped over at first, but I really wanted the coherency of the message. Oh, and I see 444 on the clock right now, and that also came up when I first started recording, because I was 4 minutes into the recording before I'm like, okay, no, I have to adjust. Also just saw 111. Okay, so already this is like a really powerful conglomeration of energies. And before we dive into, I just want to let you guys know which each section represents, okay? So it'll make sense as we go. So this first section represents the who. So this is the archetypal side of you that is the most dominant in this storyline, okay? So it's the part of you that needs attention in order for you to understand and move forward on your destiny's path, okay? This next positioning is the archetypal setting. This is the where for the journey that you're currently on, or the chapter you're currently in. So this is the energy that surrounds the situation that you're in, okay? It's like the stage or the backdrop that is influencing this storyline. Next, we have the with what, or another way of saying this is the archetypal tool that you must use, find, or give up so your destiny can unfold, okay? So think of this as the key to the situation or the best tool for the task at hand. All right, and lastly is the why. So this is the deeper purpose of your journey. This is the mythic theme or the challenge that you will face as you approach your growth edge. So this is like what this entire journey or this current chapter is all about. All right, so the first part of you, and one of the reasons why I needed to start over was because I needed more. I just had these ones out and I needed more information. So kind of what I was getting, like I wasn't sure, like, does this mean that you were in your positive, or, you know, so I just needed to get more clarity. And what I'm seeing right away, group number 1, is that I feel like you guys don't take yourselves seriously in terms of how much knowledge and wisdom and power that you hold, and your self-sourced type of wisdom. Okay, so I feel like there is a degree of you that feels like you're either, you know, there's like imposter syndrome, or you feel like you're just not ready, and there's kind of a block in terms of like going after, you know, the Knight cards are really cards of like just going after it, and especially that it's the Knight of Swords in reverse. You know, the Knight of Swords can sometimes be impulsive, but, you know, I feel like in this sense, it's saying that just doing it, just like getting out there, putting yourself out there, putting your work out there would actually be very serving. Okay, this is like tarot and divination is very intuitive. So yes, there's going to be certain meanings, right? And like definitions, I guess you could say, but this is really just what's coming forward. And what I deeply feel here is that you guys have very profound gifts and access to deep wisdom in a certain field, whether that's Reiki, energy work, helping, being a coach, a teacher of some sort, helping people. Just, there's something here about healing, and the way that healing looks, is, I'm sorry, I'm like having a lot of burps. It can take so many different forms, okay? Tarot is very, especially these types of readings, it's really important that we are tuning into what the symbology means in our own life, right? Because it can be cryptic, but this is a pretty straightforward message, regardless of how this applies in your life. It's like, I feel like there's an aspect about you that is actually like in great alignment with your soul's blueprint, and that can bring so much fulfillment, but I feel like you're kind of sleeping on it, is what's coming through, okay? And so what leads me to believe this is like you have so much of a richness like beneath the surface. You have so much potential that feels like it's untapped, or that, again, it's like you're kind of, even if you're like dabbling a little bit, like regardless of what level you're already operating at, because I am feeling that there's going to be people at different levels of this, it feels like you're not seeing yourself as the authority that you deserve to be seen as, and I feel like you have so much to give in this area or this field, but I am getting the sense that you feel a little bit lost in terms of how to practically implement this and how to practically move forward. Okay, because the area that this is showing up, the archetypal setting has to do with like your community. It has to do with, making something work. It has to do with like, I feel like maybe you're convincing yourself, or there's might be part of your narrative that says, I don't have enough time for this, right? Or, another way of saying that is it's just not a priority. And maybe part of that is, again, because you might be doubting how much you actually do bring to the table, and how much wisdom you actually have to share, and how you're kind of like this hidden gem, okay? And you could bring a lot of clarity and healing. The mystic, the shaman, the healer are kind of like, this triage of energies that really go hand in hand. And so I feel like this setting that it's like you're trying to create something out of nothing is what it feels like. And I feel like you don't really know where to start, okay? And it feels like you have so much to give, but like, do people even care? Or there's so many other people. There might be a narrative of like, there's so many other people already doing this. And I am hearing that there are people that are waiting for you to step into your power. And I know sometimes that can be ballsy to say, and that might be bold of me to say, but truly, like, if certain people had not stepped into their power in this lifetime, I don't know who I would be. Like the interconnectivity of this spiritual journey is insane. And just like the human experience in general is insane. And I feel like there might be just some confusion and just some like self-limiting beliefs and behaviors that are, causing you to believe that you don't have as much to give as you actually do. Like multiply, like I feel like you don't have much to give or something, or maybe you feel like you do have a lot to give, but you just don't know where to start. It seems like preaching to an empty room is like the energy that I'm getting. And like, how do I practically make this happen? How can I like practically support my family and, create this community deep down that I know to be true. Okay. So yeah, there's just some like shedding of old skins and old narratives that I feel like, this chapter is about. It's about seeing these self-limiting beliefs and not letting them, run the show. And so moving on to like letting this story tell itself, more completely and coherently, the tool that I feel like you need to implement more. I was not surprised when I saw the Ace of Pentacles come up right underneath the offering, because this is about allowing your work to not only like extending your work to the world, but then offering like tangible ways that people can work with you. I really am getting this, tangible ways that people can bask in your light and to like bask in your wisdom. And I feel like for some of you, this is like, you're like, I've done this before and it failed. like I've done this before, it failed, like it wasn't for me, but there was something about the timing, pile number one, that wasn't right. There's something about the timing and karmic scales and just like, yeah, I feel like purging, something just needed to balance out. Okay, something about, not that we ever get punished, but I just feel like there were things in your field that needed to be ironed out before you could move forward with kind of like a clean slate, you know, like this emptiness, this empty room, but in a positive way. And so I feel like it's about, you know, creating something out of nothing is really what I'm getting, and being able to offer, like having containers that you can offer to people this healing. And even if you're a newbie, you know, this could apply to so many different, doesn't matter the level. I just feel like it's a progression and a deepening into what it is that you're offering. It's like an extension of what you're offering, and like, okay, let's do this. Like if you're already offering like single containers, it's like, okay, let's start offering like one-to-many types of containers where, you know, you're doing lives or you're doing master classes where it's you're not expending more energy, but you are, you know, instead of showing up 1-to-1, you're showing up like 1-to-10 or 1-to-15 or 1-to-100 or whatever. So it's like your offerings are not taking more energy out of you, but it's like what you're getting back is like 100 times, you know, tenfold, that kind of thing. This is a really practical message of you have so much to give. I feel like I feel like deep down, you know yourself as an authority and that you know how much you have to offer. And I feel like the biggest thing, pile number one, is how the world sees you. And like maybe seeing other people that have been in the field longer than you or whatever, you know, it's like, there's a saying about, you know, you can come in with all the gifts and talents, but it's the person that is actually practicing the most. I think it's like someone like, I don't know, a soccer player said this. It's the person that's practicing the most that is going to actually end up, you know, surpassing and shining, right? But you have both. It's like you have the gifts and talents. And if you just continue to be consistent in what it is that you're giving to the world, like your offerings, and not letting like the small fluctuations of, you know, the likes or the numbers or, you know, the engagement or whatever it is, not letting that sway how much you know you have to offer. Because maybe you've been on this path for some time and, you know, this is just one section, all right, of probably this chapter, but I feel like it's pretty big, because I would be as bold to say for pile number one that what you are giving to the world and how you're showing up to the world is really important to you, right? I would be really bold to say that your life's purpose is really important to you. And being fulfilled is important to you, and being happy and you know, prosperity is important to you. But I can deeply feel that a big part of your fulfillment is the people you're giving back to, and being able to see and tangibly feel. It's like a visceral experience when you hear someone say, you know, you've impacted my life so positively. Like I understand myself more. Like I have deeper faith. I have deeper trust, you know, and that's the type of, I feel like, healing that pile number one is here to bring to the planet. And it's really about stepping it up and believing, you know. I feel like there's a part of you that might have lost hope because this might have been something that you've been like dabbling in for a while, or you dabbled and then you pulled back, you know, life kind of takes over sometimes. And maybe that planted a seed of doubt in terms of, you know, maybe I'll just stick to my 9-to-5, or, you know, not that there's anything wrong with that, but a deeper part of you knows, you know, that there's a much more fulfilling way that you can live, and it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't. You know, this is the stuff that I'm learning too. I'm starting to explore my own narratives as well. And, you know, it's a fine balance between understanding the narratives and understanding we just also have certain karmas. And I feel like that definitely applies here. It's the narratives and it's things just needed balance out. All right. You were fine tuning and there were certain pieces and players, you know, it's really hard to say, even for one person, but especially in a general reading, what those karmic complexities were for you, pile number one. But it is very clear that this has something to do with what you're offering to the world, and you have such a deep wellspring of like true connection with the divine. All right. And that's what the shaman's all about. The shaman has to have that true, authentic connection. And it's like the more that you're just owning it and just showing up as an authority that you are, sharing what you know, not from a place of ego, not from a place of like, I need to prove something, but just because it's what you deeply believe in and what you deeply abide by, and just sharing that. And it's like the people come, you build it and they will come. It's true. And so lastly, in terms of like the why behind this is about gaining the world. This is literally about having everything. You're just like barely doing any work. You're connecting with the divine. You're sharing what feels right. And it's like gaining the world, being in the world, but not of it. This is about like your wildest dreams coming true. And you're at a point to where when those wildest dreams come true, you're going to do the right thing with it. You're not going to abuse your power. You're not going to take advantage of people. And maybe that's one of the narratives that held you back, is like, you're like, these should be free to everyone. And this is something your guides are, passing on to me to tell you. You can make tiers, right? It's like I just saw 444 on the clock again, 1444. Okay. So there's a lot about integration. Okay. And moving forward, 4 is like a ladder. It's like we have these profound experiences and then we come back down, we integrate. We have a profound experience. We come back down, we integrate. So there's something about like, there's something here. Okay, before I get too lost on tangents, like for me, for example, I have YouTube, right? And I offer a lot for free on YouTube, right? And then when people are really vibing with you and really trust you and what you have to offer, they're going to see what else. They're going to seek out, well, what else does this person have to offer? They're giving so much freely. Like if this is what they're giving for free, I couldn't imagine what it would be like to be in a one-on-one container with them or to work with them in a group coaching program, that kind of thing. So there's different ways, there's something strategic here. All right. There's some sort of implementation of like needing to be a bit more strategic, and at the very least, just giving yourself permission to receive. Okay, to receive the monetary aspects of this, because this is a really relevant part of this reading. And so we're going to talk about it, the community that's waiting, the impact that's waiting, understanding it might be a little bit weird to juggle out at first or to see how does this all fit in, but understanding that you were made for something more than just getting by, just paying the bills. And I feel like one of the reasons why this is happening, the deeper purpose, right? The mythic theme, this challenge that you're going to face is like, you deserve this. It's this worthiness chord. I feel like of seeing how much, there's so much powerful energy here. You have so much to give. You have such a divine connection and an authentic and genuine connection to your soul stream. And it's about just putting it out there, sharing it all, like giving up the fruits, right, to the creator, whatever you want to call it, just releasing the fruits and just showing up as best as you can, right? Just because it's what you're here for. And being okay, like falling in love with that journey, falling in love with that process. And I feel like maybe there's just some ingrained, there's just some generational karma, I feel, and like collective karma about it being easy. If it's not hard, if I'm not struggling, was it really worth it? That kind of thing. Or it has to be hard in order for me to feel like I earned it. No, that's backwards. That's what we're here to unwrite. That's a very limiting perspective, right? That's a very narrow lens of perception to see through. And I feel like this is about you really seeing and feeling and embodying this worthiness within you is what this, the deeper part of all of this is you are worthy to show up as an authority. You are worthy for the community. You are worthy to be known, to be someone that is well known in your field, right? You are worthy to have success and happiness and bounty come to you effortlessly. It wasn't easy. And as the scales tip, it's meant to get easier. It doesn't start, it's not easy in the beginning of the hero's journey. But once the hero starts to like get the hang of it and see, oh, I can overcome anything, and it's only meant to fine tune me, it really gets easy. And I feel like, yeah, you are meant to have the world. You are meant to have, the relationship, the love, the romance, the friendship, the community, to build something epic in this life. You are meant to have that. The way the shaman shows up is so many different ways. It's just someone that is really in tune with the unseen realms of reality just as much as they are in tune with the seen, right? The tangible. Yeah, so I mean, I feel like this is really straightforward, okay? Just getting started or increasing or whatever it is that, you've been receiving in meditation, or those inklings of, that would be cool if I did this, to do it and to show up consistently, right? It's all about consistency. That's really what strength is about, is showing up consistently. And, you're gonna, there's so much untapped potential, regardless of how far you already are on this path. I feel like it's really meant to be lit in a really powerful way, in this life. And you're gonna, by the time you're there, it's this is really setting you up to be a very responsible steward of this power, because it's already there, it's already within you. And now this is the part of the journey where it's okay, let's see it happen. You've been feeling it, right? You've been feeling it, and it's not been showing up in 3D to the extent that I feel like is meant to in this life. But there's been some fine tuning, okay? And it's really you getting to a point of yes, I know what the F I have to offer. I know I can stand behind this because I've been through this. I can stand behind this because this is how I healed myself. You are the embodiment of your work, and that speaks for you. It goes before you, right? But the scales have tipped, and you're going to do the right thing. Sometimes it's all of this, I feel like the abundance, man, just knowing how much is going to pour in and is really in store for you, I feel like is maybe just part of this that can be alarming and is the most challenging to work through. But don't even, that will come, that will take care of itself. Just, focus on those offerings and what it is that you're being consistent in, and consistently showing up as that authority figure. And, because it's there, you're tapped in. And I'm going to leave this reading here for now. If this was your reading, let's leave, is there a coin? Let's leave a coin. All right, pile number 1, and give this video a thumbs up, and I hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love. Hey, group number 2, welcome to this reading. This is one of my favorite readings in the Kim Cran's Wild Unknown Archetype deck, and this is one of my favorite spreads. And just because there can be a lot of symbology to uncode within the type of spread that I'm doing, I just like to get all the cards out and to really soak up the message before hitting record, okay? But, I don't hand select the cards, I shuffle, the same as if you guys were watching, I shuffle. And, there is integrity with what I do, and how I lay the cards out. But again, I just want to, this is just a different type of spread. The last time I did this spread was a year and a half ago to 2 years ago on my main channel, before I switched over to a separate divination channel. Okay, and so I just want to break down really quick the sections of this spread before we get into it. So there's 4 sections to this inner quest type of spread. Another way of saying that, or my intention for this, was to get clear on the chapter, clear in regards to the chapter that you currently find yourself in, and to hopefully get some deeper clarity into why you're in this chapter, how is it here to help shape you in terms of your divine destiny, aligning with your divine destiny and your soul's blueprint. All right, so let's get into it. This first section is all about who. So another way of saying this is the archetypal side of yourself that is the most dominant within this current chapter, okay? So this is the part of you that needs attention in order for you to understand and move forward on your quest or your destiny's path. The next section is the where, or the archetypal setting for the journey you are on. This is the energy that surrounds the situation. Another way of saying that is the stage or backdrop that influences the story. Next is the with what. This is the archetypal tool that you must either use, find, or give up so destiny can unfold. Think of this as the key to the situation or the best tool for the task at hand. And lastly is the why. So this is the deeper purpose of your journey. This is the mythic theme or the challenge that you will face as you approach your growth edge. Think of this card as what your entire journey is about. And more specifically, the chapter. The journey is like a chapter, not necessarily your entire life's journey, because there's already going to be so many layers and levels to your current chapter. the guides just bring forward aspects that help confirm our deepest intuition and maybe point out some blind spots as well, and just kind of give voice and give words and affirm what our experiences are. Okay, so diving right into it, it actually was pretty clear when I was turning over the cards. First of all, this card did come up and it was very clearly reversed. I don't read really any of these reversed, but it's something that I noted, right? And the tarot really confirmed what I was feeling. So in terms of the archetypal version of yourself, or what needs to be addressed, or just what might be helpful to be aware about in your current circumstances or this current chapter, I feel like that what I heard when I was flipping over these cards, pal, too, is that you're trying to be too much for too many people. Okay, and so there's something here about not fully honoring your own needs and being in your feminine. There's an aspect of, it's like that masculine energy, maybe even hyper masculine energy, where it's like there's this belief of like in hustle culture, right? And the more I produce, the more value is attached to me. The more I produce, the more respect I get, the more worthy I am. Okay. And so there's something here about like, I feel like you're doing the right thing, but for the wrong reasons with the justice in reverse. Okay. So not bad, and it's not even accruing negative karma is what I'm hearing. But I feel like it's just the place you're coming from, is a bit, I feel like you just might be operating from an unworthiness wound where it's like, we want to prove that we're worthy. And so if we're wanting to prove that we're unworthy, what voice is speaking? That's the voice of unworthiness, because worthiness knows that it has nothing to prove. Okay. And so I feel like the version of yourself, this is really saying to get more comfortable with your feminine and attracting an intuition and right brain. Okay. Getting more comfortable with things just coming to you, and knowing that when you're taking care of yourself as empaths, as healers, it's like the more that you take care of yourself, the more potent you are when you do act, even if it seems like you're not doing as much as you should be, or as much as, your neighbor next door or someone you really admire. This is really about honoring yourself and honoring your own needs and honoring your own path. Okay, because the archetypal setting or the energy that surrounds the situation is, I feel like, kind of taking on the energies of other people, taking on the expectations of other people. And there's like a deeper desire for you to have a greater autonomy, right? But there's a desire to break out of this box, and to be in this Nine of Pentacles type of energy requires us to care less about how we're being received. As long as we know we're doing our best to operate in integrity, it's like do good and be good. It's very simple. And I feel like there's something, the energy that's surrounding this is there are like opportunities that might be being blocked, or doorways that might be put on a pause right now, because it's like you need to break out of that next layer of protection. Because when we keep ourselves in a box, that really is just a protection mechanism, right? It's like we learned in younger years that we had to show up in a certain way in order to be accepted, or to be liked, or to just, get the approval from our parents, And so I feel like the setting that this is around and surrounding really bleeds into this, the version of yourself that's being addressed to, and this person that doesn't need to be everything for everyone, and understanding that like you're not going to be liked by everyone, but you're going to be liked a lot by the right people. And it's not, I don't even want to say it's bad to have that, because on like, in terms of our reptilian brain, it's a deep programming to feel like we need the approval of everyone, because when we were like cavemen and women, it's like if we didn't have the approval of our tribe, we would not be able to survive. Okay. But times are shifting, times are different, And I do feel like becoming more comfortable in yourself and not chasing so much and not feeling like you have something to prove. And, you know, even if you feel like you're not doing a lot externally, it's just like the energy that you're sitting in, okay? Because there's going to be different people coming at this from, different, from different places. But it's the energy, and for some people it is what you're maybe also doing as well, the energy attached to what you're doing. It's never about what we're doing, it's always the place that we're sitting in, okay? And so I feel like the feminine wants to come on board more, and and there's something about releasing preconceived ideas of how it should look. Like, you get to make the rules, my dear, pile number 2s, especially. There's so much here about career and what you're building and achieving long-term type of success that you've been putting in a lot of work towards. And I feel like this next level of success really relies on you taking your cues a lot less from the outside, okay? Because moving on, it's like the tool that we need to give up. Because I do feel like in some cases, it's like, what do you need to take on? But I feel like this is a giving up, right? The medallion is like the idea of like, we've done something to earn someone else's approval or to earn outside validation. And I feel like in this case, this is what you need to give up, because it's leaving you in this 2 of Swords type of energy of not really knowing your true path, of feeling like, you're blindfolded. The blindfold in tarot represents the energy. It's symbolic for not being able to fully see a situation, right? But it's like, we could easily take it off ourselves, so it's kind of this notion of our own self-doing. It's not actually that we can't see something or we don't have the ability to see something. It's just that, we're kind of keeping ourselves in a state of confusion by holding on to something that doesn't need to be there, or that's really not serving us, So the 2 of Swords also represents like reaching a stalemate, right? And so I feel like maybe you've reached a stalemate in your life, and it's like you're wanting new energy, you're wanting something new. You're like, I'm doing all the right things. But again, your guides are coming back to, it's the place that you're doing it from that matters the most. Spirit doesn't really care about what happens on the material world. Spirit cares more about like the integrations, the lessons that were learned, and there's so many different ways things can manifest on the level of the 3D in order to integrate those same lessons, That's where it gets kind of fun. So I do feel like something in terms of knowing your next step and making it more empowered decisions, and decisions where you see the type of success and the type of external reflection that you're ready for, pile number 2. I feel like a big part is giving up this idea of like, I need to be A, B, and C in order to get this recognition. And it's just like, no, just like be who you are wholeheartedly. And it's going to come to you, right? The Queen is all about magnetism. The King is about going out and making shit happen. But the Queen is all about, no, it's just going to come to you. The more that you just radiate your most authentic self, let this light inside, permeate outwards. But currently it's inside this container, this mental framework that is not serving and blocking new opportunities and blocking new collaborations, and really you just feeling abundant first. 11:11 on the clock, you feeling that way first, right? And so I feel like even what it says, or what is being said here, is just being mindful of the areas that you tend to do that the most. I'm hearing something about an open throat chakra, something like in human design that I'm like lightly dabbling in, and I'm gonna book a reading with someone soon because it's really intriguing, right? So something about like taking on other people's truths, and in like romantic dynamics, and this is just symbolic in general for like people that you respect, people that you like really want the approval of. And again, there's no judgment, because especially people we admire, like when we really admire someone and they show us, a certain level of admiration back, that feels good, so there's no judgment. But I feel like this is really symbolic for especially the people that you admire, romantic dynamics, people that you even grew up with, any person that you put or consider like an authority, to release this need to get validation from them, and doing your best to follow the path that feels the most aligned to you and your quirkiness all the time, right? And I do feel like it's interesting because it's like the more that you release this need to you know, get like the unworthiness. It's not even you. It's like the unworthiness cord and the unworthiness aspect. The more that you release that, the more I feel like the reflections are just waiting to come in, because this is not saying, you know, all of this energy is here. Two of Pentacles, Justice, Nine of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles. All of this energy is here. It's present. It's just a little bit stagnant, right? It's just a little bit, it's not fully online. It's more of its shadow aspect, but the energy is present, waiting to come forward, right? And so I feel like everything that you're kind of like waiting for, the version of yourself and all of the things, the people, the relationships that are in alignment with that version of self are waiting for you to come online even more. You know, again, because there's like not always incentive. If we always got the things that we thought we wanted when we wanted them the most, it's like, where would that incentive be to really like push ourselves and push up against that growth edge, you know? So I feel like, yeah, the type of validation you're seeking is going to come from just the feeling that you get from, you know, caring less about other people's opinions. And it doesn't mean that you care less about people, because again, the Queen is like very, very service oriented. Like I see you are, pile number 2, very service oriented. Okay. So the overall like reason for this, so the deeper purpose of this journey, I feel like the Eros in this case really represents becoming more of like your unbridled self. So no matter how different it is, like I was getting kind of like, you know, Eros can represent like eroticism and things that might be a little bit taboo and just like not in alignment with the mainstream, but it's so you know, I feel like the Ten of Swords here to me represents doing those things that we feel like we have to do. And it's like, but says who, you know, like I know that we're in this age where everyone's a guru these days. I saw this incredible meme. It was so funny. It was like, God grant me the confidence of a 25-year-old life coach. And no hate if you're a 25-year-old life coach, none at all. But it was funny. You know, I had a good giggle from it, but it was like, who's to say that, you know, there's no one way to do anything. There's no one way to be successful. And this is really like the Ten of Swords represents, you know, air, vata is all about ideas and inspiration. And it's like the current ideas and narratives that have been running you, they're dead, right? It's like, again, Ten of Swords generally is like being stabbed in the back. And it's almost like being stabbed in the back by, you know, the echoes of your past. Okay. And just being really, I feel like it's a narrative that says that it's a little dry. You know, the current narrative I feel like is a little bit dry, and you know, you make up the rules, pile number 2. You really do. When it's truly in alignment with what you came here to do and who you came here to be, it's gonna feel fan-fucking-tastic. You know, and so it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be this struggle. It doesn't have to be, you know, this. Again, that's just like echoes of the limited past of humanity. It can be fun. It can be easy. There's so much here about just aligning with your sensuality and aligning with it comes easy, it comes to me, you know, because I'm just radiating my truth. It can be that easy. I'm just being my full self and things are just coming. And so this is about being okay with being taboo, being okay with being looked at different, you know, because there are people out there that are waiting, that are so waiting for you to show up as that unbridled version of yourself. If there are, you know, there's some people that like, I'm so grateful that they showed up in their power as their most authentic self. And it shows me more and more how interconnected we really are as a species, because there's someone waiting for you to do that same thing, showing up as your unbridled, unfiltered self, you know, just this authentic version of yourself, doing the best that they can. And I feel like a deeper part of this too is like calling in your true soul family, calling in your true tribe that is, you know, somehow a part of your vision, whatever your vision is. It's going to be different for all the people that are drawn to this, but your vision has been something you've been meticulously working at. You've been addressing it over and over again. It's been like a step-by-step, feeling like a very slow process in some ways. But again, it's like there's a reason. We don't always know why it happens, different time lengths, time frames for different people, but we can trust that there's always a reason that is benign, and it's for us to not place our treasures up where moth and dust will corrupt. you know, and to once we really lock into that most authentic version of self where we're not chasing anything, we're just like this magnetic, right, frequency, this magnetic force, it's like, all right, things are going to really start to pour in. And I do see that there's like this unbridled taboo version of yourself is a really great type of leader, all right, where it's like, I have nothing to prove and this is who I am. And it's like, people don't want perfection. People don't like being around people that come across as perfect, like they have no flaws, right? People like realness, people like rawness, right? And that's the type of person I want to work with. That's the type of person that, you know, a lot of people want to work with. And just my, maybe this is just my opinion, but I feel like there's something here there. It's just so clear about coming out of your box. Okay. And not waiting for outside approval, not relying so heavily on outside approval, outside validation to see that you're doing a good job, and just continuing to put one foot in front of the other, falling in love with the process. Okay, knowing you're worthy, telling a different narrative, it can be easy. It doesn't have to take a long time. But even if it does, I trust in the divine perfection. I trust in the divine unfolding, and knowing that's going to attract people that have skills that maybe you don't necessarily, but they're going to help you with your vision, right? They're going to help you. They're going to help you. There's so many different ways that this is coming up, right? Whether it be a mentor, a teacher, a group container, or someone that is like directly working with you, someone that has like website skills, tech skills that is coming in, you know, there's just something here that it's so clear about releasing this idea of perfection and being your truest, most unbridled self, okay? Being self-sourced and not feeling like you have to overcompensate, not feeling like you have to prove anything. And it's from that disposition that things come to us so much more easily, okay? But it really is about owning all parts of self. And nothing to prove, owning all parts of yourself, and especially releasing this need of approval from authority figures, lovers, people that we really respect, people that we've pedestaled, essentially. You know, and understanding and realizing that, you know, we got it, we got it going on. It's like when you really know that you're aligned with, you know, the universal forces, it's like, you got it going on, man. It's like, you just feel it, and giving yourself permission to feel it and not think that you're cocky, not think that, you know, you're going to take advantage or you're going to, you know, act out of your integrity or anything. I feel like it's more arrogant to like deny our gifts and to deny our truest self. Again, because the mind thinks that it knows what's best, but the soul is screaming, let me come through. And there's so much goodness just waiting, man. It's like, it's really exciting, honestly, because it's so it's so different, it's so unique, and it's so free is really what I'm getting. So that's what this current chapter from a general stance is all about, and continuing on your path. And I feel like the floodgates are going to pick up, and you're just going to feel that you're operating from that vibration, and it's only a matter of time that the external catches up. So yeah, I'm going to leave this reading here for now, pile number 2. Thanks for joining me here. If this was your pile, let's go ahead and leave a crown down below in the comment section if you have nothing else to share. And give this video a thumbs up, and I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love. Hey, group number 3, welcome to your reading. This reading is all about the current chapter and the deeper purpose of the current chapter that you're in. I would like to give credit where credit is due. This is my favorite spread in the Kim Kranz Archetype deck guidebook. Okay, so there's 4 sections to this reading, and you know, it's just like such a multi-layered reading and much different than the other ones that I do, that I just have to sit here and soak it up, you know, for a while and like converse with spirit about what's going on. And then I can hit record when I'm ready. So I want to guide you guys through the different sections of this reading just so you're up to speed. So this first section is about the who. So this is the archetypal side of yourself that is the most dominant in this chapter, okay? So this is the part of you that needs attention in order for you to understand and move forward on your quest. This section is the where, so it's the archetypal setting for the journey you are on. Another way of saying that, it's the energy that surrounds the situation, so the stage or the backdrop that influences the story. Next, we have the with what. So this is the archetypal tool that you must use, find, or give up so destiny can unfold. This is the key to the situation or the best tool for the task at hand. And lastly is the why. This is the deeper purpose of your journey. This is the mythic theme or challenge that you will face as you approach your growth edge. This is like what this entire chapter or journey is about. All right, so first and foremost, like anytime I see the siren, it's almost like I get this feeling of we're drawing things to us, but from a place of like not complete honesty. Or we're drawing things to us, we're like seducing things in that may be coming from a place of not reflecting our highest truth or our like most honest self, right? And it kind of confirmed that with the Seven of Swords here. And the Empress, right? This is kind of like a combination of this energy. And so I feel like the part of yourself that is the most dominant is there's something here about you're attracting things to you. And like deep down, and not even deep down, like you are a catch, pile number 3. Whether you're a male or female, you are a catch. I feel like there's this sense of people feel that you're not being fully honest with them. And I don't think that's necessarily the case. What I'm seeing is what's going on, because the river did come up in reverse. What I'm seeing what's going on is there is like, I feel like you aren't always clear and upfront about what you actually feel about a situation, what you actually feel about someone. And sometimes we do that because we're empaths and we don't want to, you know, make someone feel rejected or be the reason why someone feels rejected, because we can feel all of that. And, you know, it's likely that we've felt those before in this life. And so I feel like, you know, there's so much symbology here about water, okay, and coming to the depths, bringing ourselves into the depths. And I feel like, you know, I'm not saying change yourself because other people are feeling a type of way. I feel like what Spirit is showing me is that you're actually going to feel so much more fulfilled within yourself and all aspects of your life, right? The King of Pentacles is about all aspects, you know, and you do have the King of Cups coming up as well. So there's so much here about maturity. You do have the counterparts, the Empress and the Emperor. There's so much maturity here, okay? There's so much potential here. And I'm sure you guys are already acting on that potential to a certain degree. I am seeing, however, the current chapter that you're in, it really has to do with being more transparent and obviously do what the fuck you want, you know, but I'm really seeing that you are at a place of maturity to be able to handle it. And that might seem weird, that like how that comes out, that might seem weird, but honestly, there's a lot of people out there that, you know, are kind of like wounded children in adult bodies. And I feel like you're at a point of maturity to where it's okay for you to go into the depths of your emotion, right? The King of Cups sits in the water element, and he is an individual that is not swept away by the tides, okay? Someone that is, whether they're having a wave of some intense emotion or not, doesn't really change their overall disposition, right? And so with the box coming up, this is all about keeping ourselves like confined, right? Not giving ourselves permission to expand past our growth zone. And I feel like the things that you're going to attract, the people that you're going to attract are going to be so much more different. And I feel like that's maybe what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting to have these relationships and dynamics where it doesn't feel like you're looking over your shoulder. It doesn't feel like you're attracting partners that like aren't up to speed with you, you know? And again, I feel like those people that are coming to you that are operating with a mask and that feel like they're not fully there, they're not fully authentic, that's not because you're not fully authentic. I feel like you've just developed, for probably a good reason, some protection mechanisms. And so what you're currently attracting in business, in relationships, love, platonic relationships, is kind of a reflection of that. Okay. And so there's like a transformation that's wanting to be had. There's an up leveling that's wanting to be had, and a deeper emotionality and greater expression of that emotionality. Okay. Because getting into the tool that I feel like is wanting to be released is this, that it kind of causes like an internal dissonance, an internal anxiety with this Nine of Swords, which is also related to 18, the number 18, which is the moon card. So it's like creating this type of like, it's almost like when you can feel someone's not like being honest, or they're not saying everything, and it doesn't even have to be malicious, but you can just feel that they're not saying something. And so it comes across like sneaky, whereas if you are around people where you just always know where they stand, and again, it's not like not having a filter. That's not what spirit is coming through, but it's about like owning your emotions and owning all sides of yourself, and not feeling like you have to hide anything, because that creates anxiety within your own self when you feel like whatever emotions are existing within you, whatever beliefs, whatever feelings you have about something are not okay, right? Or they're not welcome, or they're not going to be accepted. That might be something that's plagued you or haunted you for a while. And maybe like expressing yourself, truly feeling comfortable in your emotionality, and to really tell people how you really feel might be something that, felt like for whatever reason was not okay. It wasn't accepted. We didn't, in our family dynamic, we don't talk about these things that, really actually matter. Maybe it was more of a surface level type of existence. And so now you're kind of, this chapter, a big part of it is retraining yourself to come into your emotional body. This is all about embodiment. Okay. The King of Pentacles and the King of Cups is like, these are the ultimate archetypes for embodiment. The Empress is the ultimate, right? About embodiment. And the Emperor is all about acting from that place of true embodiment, right? Where it's not conceptual. We're not over conceptualizing things, but we're really giving ourselves permission to feel. And so like, we don't feel off. We don't feel phony. We just like have arrived. Wherever we go, we have arrived. And so this beautiful masterpiece and this seamless expression can come forward. It's like the social anxiety. A big part of that is feeling that your emotions, what you're feeling, is unacceptable. And the more you fight it, it's like the more awkward shit becomes, and the less you fight it, and the more that you're just like, oh yes, this too, this is fine. You're just owning that experience and not making it mean more than what it is, right? The more things just flow effortlessly and they don't get choked up along the way. But there's, the box and the mask both have a similar energy of wanting to break out into a greater level of authenticity. And again, that's what was coming through in the very beginning, is that you're ready to attract new things. You're ready to attract new opportunities, and to attract just a new type of person in your life, and, even brand deals, partnerships, a new type of client. And a big part of that is, again, not needing to come off as perfect. Right? Because, and this might not even be something that's super obvious, to you, but self-criticality is, again, feeling imperfect. Self-criticality is, not feeling good enough as we currently are. And, perfection is just, that's why the Buddha says suffering is essentially when the models that we have in our minds don't align with reality of things. And the reality of things is that we have some, some karma, we have some self-limiting behavior, self-limiting beliefs, we have some traumas, and that's perfectly fine. It's like acceptance is the first part of transformation. And so the reason that this is happening, the growth edge, the purpose, the deeper purpose of this chapter that you're in is really to come to a point of feeling like, again, it's like Aletheia is this energy of like a breath of fresh air, like I can breathe. This is coming into a greater alignment with your truth. And so I feel like the purpose of this is recognizing, understanding that you don't become less of a model. You don't become less of a guide or less worthy or less of someone that like deserves respect for honoring the light and the dark within yourself. And it's actually the opposite. You know, there's so much here about embracing the dual nature of yourself and not feeling like you need to hide any of it. And I feel like you're going to feel so much more free, pile number 3, which is the most important part of this, is feeling, you know, very free to let things come and go. That's really what the king is all about, is that no matter what type of emotion is coming through, he just lets it flow by, and he doesn't really take his cues from those heightened emotional states. And because of that, he's more in tune with his intuition. And so I do feel like there's a deep link to your intuition and what it is that you're trying to create in this life, right? The community, the people, the career path, all right, is going to unlock itself even more, you know, once you are allowing both of these sides of yourself, this deep emotional side of yourself to come through, because I feel like you do have a lot of depth. You have much wisdom, and I mean, there are powerful cards on this, you know, within this spread, and you're a powerful individual. And just like most of us, we've just developed some modes. You have just developed some modes of protection along the way that I feel like are ready to come undone. And I feel like, you know, I feel like you guys just might feel like looking over your shoulder, or feel like people aren't being super straight up with you, or, you know, there's just some anxieties that I feel like are surrounding relationships in particular. And I feel once you start to approach your dynamics from this heightened perspective and, you know, really place this emotional intelligence at the forefront and just let yourself come out of this box a little bit more and come from a more authentic place yourself, I feel like things are going to shift pretty quickly. And this is, again, just about owning all aspects of yourself and knowing that, you know, what true confidence is. This is something my guides have worked with me the past couple of years, but true confidence is not having any flaws, but it's being fully aware, you know, recognizing that there are some things in your field that are dissonant, that, you know, don't resonate with your fullest version of self, and not taking your cues from that space. It's like being fully aware of your flaws, but still showing up as the person that you want to be every day, and not taking your cues from people, not taking your cues from the energy of others, and just, again, being a breath of fresh air everywhere you go. Aletheia is this really is a card of unveiling truth, but it comes as a breath of fresh air. It comes as like a warm welcoming, while there's another card, an initiation card, that comes as like a rude awakening. But this is one that feels so good. It feels so good to finally take off this mask and be more wholeheartedly who I am, and to just like speak from a place of my heart. I'm speaking from my heart, and because so, everything is transforming. I'm transforming. My relationships are transforming. The type of people I'm attracting are transforming. The anxiety subsides, you know, quite a bit when we're just like focusing on the heart, when we speak, when we connect with whatever that we do. And I feel like, again, everything is it's not gonna feel like you're, I don't want to say putting on a show, like it's negative or like you're doing this consciously, but I feel like sometimes it's like the emotions get so strong for you that it's hard to stay grounded, and sometimes pile number 3 tries to come across like they have it all together, even when they don't feel like they do, and to be okay with having those moments. And I feel like it goes back to like not wanting to show weakness, you know, and keeping this facade, this very stoic facade, you know, that just let yourself be human. Let yourself be human, pile number 3. So this was a very broad and somewhat cryptic message, and regardless of what you do in life, like I feel like all areas of life this is leaking into, and all areas will improve the more that you're just releasing the anxiety of being wholeheartedly who you are. yeah, I mean, this is a beautiful reading, and I don't really need to go on any longer. If this was your reading and it resonated, please leave that mask emoji down below, you know, the happy and the sad mask. And give this video a thumbs up, and I do hope to see you on my channel again soon. Much love. Hey group number 4, welcome to your reading. I honestly wasn't sure at first why I was so hellbent on having 4 piles. But after getting this spread out, I'm honestly not surprised because each of the storylines and chapters have been so archetypically different and unique. And I couldn't help but smile when I saw my favorite card in this deck pop out. So before we get started, I'm just going to let you know why I did things differently and just what each section represents of this reading. So this is such a dense type of reading that I just needed to get, it's one of those where it's very coherent and all the cards need to be up at once. And I just want to really soak up the message before I start talking and hit record. And I don't do this. The last time I did one of these readings was on my main channel, like almost 2 years ago, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, this is a reading from my favorite reading from the Kim Kranz Wild Unknown Archetype deck. And we're just going to go through which each section represents for your, you know, the deeper purpose of this current chapter that you're in. Okay, so first is the Who. This represents the archetypal side of yourself that is the most dominant within this story. It's the part of you that needs attention in order for you to understand and move forward within your destiny. Okay, next is the Where. This is the archetypal setting for the journey you are on. This is the energy that surrounds the situation or the stage or backdrop that influences this overall story. Next is the Tool. So this is the archetypal tool you must use, find, or give up so that destiny can unfold. Think of this as the key to the situation or the best tool for the task at hand. And lastly is the deeper purpose. This is the Why, the mythic theme or the challenge that you will face as you approach your growth edge. Think of this as what this entire journey or this entire chapter within your destiny is about, okay? And this is so beautiful. I can relate already so much to the codes that are seen within this message. You know, the Warrior came up in a reverse position, and already I was feeling into the Why, but then the tarot really helped clarify that. You guys are just steadfast, resilient types of souls, okay? I feel like you have this innate positivity to you, and this is what this chapter I feel like is really showing you, that how just resilient you are, and you have this you just have this quality about you, this characteristic that I feel like was learned in early childhood. You know, I feel like there were things and reasons why you felt like you needed to protect yourself. All right, maybe psychologically, in some cases physically needed to protect yourself. Okay, and this current chapter that you're in is saying that that version of yourself, those fears and those circumstances that led you to believe that you were not safe, those are gone. Okay, those are no longer here. And I feel like you have worked really hard to get yourself out of a bad place mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And what this current chapter is inviting you to see is you can let your defenses down. All right, you are not that little girl or little boy anymore. You are someone who has really taken the lemons of life and made the best lemonade anyone has ever had. And your guides are, I'm feeling emotional, first of all, because I can just feel the pride that your guides have for you. And I feel like you have moments too, group number 4, where you can recognize how far you've come and how much you have overcome and how many transformations have gone through. And, you know, a lot of the times when people go through the things and have seen the things that you have seen, there can be like this arrested development to where it makes it really hard to want to try new things, because we have learned at a really fragile state of our development, we have learned that, you know, survival was the biggest thing. And, you know, it's like there's so much science behind this, but to not get too like into that, because I'm doing so much studying within the programs that I'm currently taking, that I'm learning so much about, you know, that type of blueprints and codes that exist within early incarnation. Okay. And so I feel like despite having feeling like arrested in your development, that has not stopped you from taking risks. That has not stopped you from going out and exploring and trying to be the best person that you are, like literally rewriting your generational script. They say, or it's been studied, that up to 14 generations impacts us today. So 14 generations of families and incarnations, lineages from both parents' side influencing who you are today. Okay. And there's just, I'm not like, you are truly, pile number 4, the actual, I feel like, archetype, like, of a warrior, like not just in this chapter, but I feel like your whole life is kind of that, from rags to riches. And this is more metaphorically, but most certainly can have to do with, financially as well, which we do see towards the end of this reading is in store for you. But you've just overcome so much. And I feel like you've gotten used to being so much in your masculine energy, whether you're female or male, doesn't matter. You've gotten so used to being in your masculine energy because the masculine wants to fix. The masculine, it was something you developed to protect yourself, because you didn't have a safe container to let the feminine come up. Maybe sometimes you did, but you had that not be the case enough to where this deeply affected you, to where it's hard, I feel like, for you to let people in. It's hard for you to truly, like this. It's so interesting because this actually came through in my meditation. Like, I was feeling into this pile before I even knew I was going to do this reading today. But I like, there's been 2 days in between when I completed all the other ones, and I knew I just needed to do a 4th pile, and I'm so grateful that I followed that, because I feel like the people drawn to this really need this message. You really need this confirmation. It is okay to feel, and actually the version of yourself that is waiting to be born, you're already seeing glimpses of it, but there's so much that is riding on you letting your heart open. Okay, and I felt you guys in my meditation today, this morning, where I could feel the protection mechanisms. And I've had experiences where, like recently, where I'm around more people and it's like soul family. And I start to notice when it starts to get too intimate, or to where it's like, okay, my heart is finally opening again. Like, I can feel my own resistance, and I love people so deeply, and I'm friendly, etc. And I feel like I'm talking about myself, but I feel like you guys will get this. And that's why I am, right? To where it's like, you're so magnetic, you can draw people in, and you have a very friendly disposition, and you're very truly confident because of all of the battles you've faced, the demons you've faced, the battles that no one else has seen, and the person you've become. And now it's at the point to where, okay, let's get deeper. And so I saw like these images of myself where I was around people that remind me, that show me how great I am, because we attract what we are. And I've just been surrounded by such amazing people lately. And then I can feel the heart wanted to start to contract. And you know what part of that is? Whether it was from the divine masculine or divine feminine representation, that energy in your own life, it's like something, that polarity was missing. So like, where the feminine is all about being nurtured, there's something here about you feeling like you didn't have that. You didn't have that nurturance that you needed. And so that's where we become the hyper masculine in our own energy, because, it's all about fixing. How can and for good reason, for survival reason, right? But the divine feminine, and just feeling like seen. Masculine is fixing, feminine is just, I'm okay to be as I am. And I feel like there were certain moments in your life, your upbringing, where you didn't feel safe just to be, or who you were wasn't enough, or whether that was communicated directly or indirectly, whether you were bullied, whether there was some family stuff going, I feel you. And look how far you've come. And now we're ready. This chapter is all about, okay, you can release your defenses, because moving into the archetypal setting, that you're building your castle. You are building your destiny. You are building, the thing that you are meant to do. It's happening. And you are so positive. You have maintained this optimism that is interesting. That might not be the best word, but this optimism that you have based off the things that you have experienced and seen is literally just goes to show the fortitude of your soul, the fortitude of your spirit. And the setting that is being developed for you, or the energy this is taking place, is really that, you know, it's like, yes, you are self-sourced. Yes, pile 4 can do it on their own. Yes, pile 4 is good on their own. But a big part of this is welcoming other people in. And to a degree that, you know, is not so, we're not so, what is the word I'm looking for? Suspicious of what someone else is going to do, or suspicious of like somehow it's going to be ripped away from us. No, you've established that you're good. You've already established that you're good on your own, right? And this is what's been building the foundations for your empire, for your castle, for your prosperity on every level. And, you know, the part of yourself that I feel like needs addressing is letting that positivity and that celebration be truly felt by everyone, and really being able to understand that you're not going to be hurt to that degree. You have developed so much. Like, I'm getting someone that is very self-studied, someone that really knows themselves. You have taken the time to dive into yourself, to understand yourself, not only spiritually, but psychologically as well, to understanding generational trauma. Like, you are a true survivor. You are a true warrior of whatever you've had to overcome. And I feel like now really being able to bask in the light that I'm hearing the phrase from, Into the Wild, about the guy. I grew up in Alaska. So this was like, I did a report on this man that he essentially like released everything. Like, he didn't like the modern culture. I resonate so much with this archetype, but he did not resonate with modern culture, the money, the status, all of that. He like gave all his money away to charity, and, you know, just left on his feet, and became like a wanderer, a wandering soul, and essentially made his way up to Alaska, and ended up passing away in Fairbanks, Alaska. And one of the last things that was recorded of him, and in this whole journey he went on, this incredible hero's journey he went on, they found an inscription he made that happiness is best when shared. And so I feel like you guys that was a long way of saying that you can bask in your own light. You can bask in the light of source, and that's beautiful. You are at a point in your journey where happiness is best when shared. And you're going to get a richer experience of the human journey, the more that we can let other people in and let other people a part of this empire. For whatever reason, it's like you've learned, yes, and it's beautiful, you have learned that you're good, and you've learned how to pick yourself up by the bootstraps and to survive, and to find happiness and to find true meaning in your life, where at some points I feel like it was completely lost. I feel like you doubted, maybe even for some of you, doubted there was even a source, doubted there was even anything benign on your side, you know? And so to go from that type of doubt into the type of bliss and understanding and clarity that you have is truly something to be proud of. And now this chapter is about opening up to other people, because what the tool to give up, I feel like it came in the middle, because it was like it could go both ways. This is either what's weighing you down, or it's what's becoming your anchor. There is, with the 5 of Wands and 7 of Cups, this is like the ultimate combination of like internal confusion or internal dissonance, not knowing who we can trust. And I feel like it's when memories come up that are non-serving, like memories and narratives that are coming up that are weighing you down, because it's like you still think that you're that person. I feel like you truly maybe are aware of, to some extent, how much you've transformed, but I feel like what you're able to actually register as how much you've changed in a positive way is much different than what other people would say. I feel like you are night and day different than what like family would say, or people that you went to school with. They would say you are night and day. They would be like, who is this person? And I feel like where this becomes heavy, where it becomes non-serving, is you still think that you are that person. And so it like stunts your growth. Like it stunts I don't want to say it stunts your growth, but it stunts your ability to like really take charge and go after the things with like the unapologetic disposition that the Knight of Wands has. Like, he sees something, he's going for it. That's the energy of the Knight of Wands. I see it, it's mine. I want it. Nothing is going to stop me. And also there's this there is this resiliency because it is the Knight, right? And so, and almost this, it's hard to put into words, but it's almost like this naive sense of he does not think anything bad can get in his way. Nothing can stop him, despite all of the challenges, despite anything that might be going on the level of the mind, or how many people are no, you should not do this. The Knight gives no F's and will do what he wants. Okay. So, and it's positive. That's what I see, right? That despite all of this, and it's when you're in a really charged and your positive masculine energy, right? But when, again, I feel like there is a mistrust of the feminine dynamic in your life, that it becomes a weight, and that the feminine, when there's too much feminine, or we have a distorted relationship to the feminine archetype, it's we confuse ourselves. We get stagnant. There's too many decisions. We're too go with the flow. It's the flow is everywhere, and so it kind of puts this energy, which I feel overall is kind of what you are. It's kind of the main archetypes that you embody in this life, pile number 4. But he doubts himself, and he, it's all this fire becomes self-destructive when we are not careful about the narratives that we are feeding into. Because the stone can either be the anchor, right, for us, grounding us, which a lot of fire needs that grounding, or it can be the thing that weighs us down, right? Which, when those old narratives, and when we truly, again, are letting those protection mechanisms come up, it's because there's a subconscious. And I get this. This work is deep. The more I study breath and meditation, that's what these are tools for, to really penetrate beneath these deep layers of the subconscious, because sometimes we don't even know they're operating. They can be sneaky. But operating within, when your heart wants to close, even though there's nothing that tells you you're in an unsafe environment, that's your work. And that you can be sure that's your narrative, that past narrative that's, weighing you down. But again, it's all out of love. It's protecting you, because at some points you felt unprotected. Okay. And so I'm not saying any part of your journey is negative or bad. It's what you needed. Okay. But this current chapter that you're in, regardless of what you're doing, I bet in some way, even what you're here to gift to the planet is based off of the darkness that you were in, and the light, and how you made yourself to the light. That is part of the empire you're building in some way. Okay. And so to tie off this reading in terms of, what this whole journey is about, we've already been saying that's what agape is about. I felt that from the beginning. I was getting emotional, from the beginning. It's about that open heart. It's the poet archetype of, everything in life. You're just here to receive, and you're not, as best as you can, attaching any negative, maybe even any positive, because positive storylines are indicative of negative storylines, but you're just being neutral to the human experience. And the biggest part of this is that you are going to see that you are attracting people of the integrity that you are at. You are releasing untapped potential to a degree that I feel you don't maybe even realize, because it's so clear how much power you wield. I don't know. I'm never sure which one it is. I feel there is so much there. And when the heart chakra starts to open more, and we're really allowing our relationships to nourish us how they were meant to, everything is going to increase. Because I'm getting this sense of just having so much power, and I feel this next chapter, what this current chapter is here to show you, is the type of impact you are here to make requires the heart to be even more open. You've already made such a big impact on people, whether it is a lot of people or just a few people or a combination of both. I'm just getting this sense that you're just inspiring to people. And I do feel finances is going to double, triple, quadruple, come back tenfold, the more that we are just allowing ourselves to be seen in our wholeness. That's the feminine. There's nothing to fix. You are perfect. You have felt so much that you have had to fix things. You've had to fix other people. Maybe some of you were even like the parent to your own parents, and you didn't even get that childhood. You didn't even really get that feeling of being safe and nurtured. And so I'm getting so emotional in this reading. Now it's your time to really see that it is okay to love. And it's okay to really be loved for who you are, because I'm telling you, there's already so many people that love you for who you are, and the clarity and the inspiration you bring into their life. And there is just like, yeah, I feel like there's so much about the worthiness aspect that is attached to the heart. And the more your heart opens, the more that narrative naturally will dissolve. You'll naturally get rid of this of like, okay, I'm going to be pricing things at the level that I know I deserve. I'm going to be pricing things different. I'm going to, be receiving things different. You're not going to question if you deserve something. It's like, like I received that, and this untapped potential is coming up to the surface. It's like the heart open is going to eat up, all of this, these, I feel like they're like threads. They're karmic threads for sure, but it is enough that is still kind of tainting the level of depth of fulfillment that you can experience. And it's just going to get better from here. Like, you put in the work for sure. And I love that we have the Queen of Cups, because not only is it the archetype of, not only is the water archetype feminine, but it's the queen, so there's so much here about reclaiming this divine feminine within you, which you already have a good intuition, pile number 4. It's just going to get better. It's just going to get deeper. You're just going to get that much more clear. And you are at a point, this is really saying that a big part of this is to see that you can be that nurturing archetype to that inner child. Still, you're there. Okay. And there's just some of these little protection mechanisms, which is fine, but it's just gonna, man, I'm excited for you guys, because this is well deserved. Everything on our journey is, I feel like everything is meant to help us, is what I'm trying to say. But I really do feel like this is a really great chapter that you're in. And it's like, for however long you've been in this, for years, maybe some of you are in like a Saturn return kind of thing, or a dark night of the soul, or months, whatever. I just feel like this is one of those things to where the person that entered this chapter and the person that is leaving it's like different lifetimes, it feels like. And you're ready. Like, you are so ready for this destiny. You're so ready to fill the shoes. You're so ready for what life has to offer, and to really see. It's like your worthiness is shining, okay? And it's because your heart is open. And so it's like the abundance, I swear, like financially and relationally especially, is just going to flow environmentally. You're releasing yourself from those shackles, okay? That's what this chapter is about. And so giving yourself permission to go into, that's why what I love about breathwork so much, and soon I'll be able to offer that to you guys. I already feel confident in it, but, there's something about me having that certificate that I'll feel really good about. But, the breath is one of the few parts of our body that happens automatically, and that can happen under our control. And so that's like the subconscious and the conscious merging together. And so when you consciously are working with the subconscious and conscious, you can kind of remove the veil and kind of bring to light these karmic cords, these karmic little tethers, and be like, oh, okay, and honestly, a lot of the time I feel like this is more of an internal thing. Like, what you're doing externally is great. All right. This internal shift is going to just like bring so much more power. I get it that it's more of an internal thing with the devil. It's like untapped potential or locked potential. Shackled potential is going to be opened once we address these subtleties a little more, and we're like, okay, I can feel my heart. Like in that meditation, I was like, I can feel my heart closing. And so I took my awareness and I paired it with breath to my heart space, and I kept it open, right? And so that kind of thing, subtle but powerful type of work. Okay, so this is beautiful. Thank you so much for giving me permission to read for you today. If this was your, man, what do we even leave for this? Because I wish they had this down below, this like little skull head. If this was your reading today, pile number 4, I'm going to have you leave your favorite heart emoji down below. Okay, we're claiming it. All right, much love. Hope to see you soon.